Are you gonna say hi?
Hey, love.
Hello, Beverly. And good afternoon to all of you. This is what, June 2nd, 2012. I am Bill, and I'm living large and loving life in Olympia, Washington. And we have sunshine today. So, as if I needed a reason to be happy, there's my new reason. Love of my life is right behind the camera smiling at me, as she always does. And today's video is about communication. A topic that took me a long time to understand. Very long time. I'm going to start with a story. I was about 10 when I was on a drive with my family one day. And we came to a stop sign, and my dad kind of stopped. You know, he just kind of hit, and then he kind of rolled a little, and then he pulled out. There's no traffic coming. There isn't a car around for miles, you know. So he just pulls them. And sure as heck, we haven't gone a block, and there's the red lights behind us, and the cops are pulling us over. So this cop gets out of his car, and he comes up, and he rolls. My dad rolls the window down, and the policeman says, "Do you know you didn't stop at that stop sign?" And my dad said, "Well, sure I did." We all knew he had. But I mean, come on. Okay, he kind of stopped. We've all done that. And the policeman said, no, you didn't. He said, you came to a California speed stop. First time I'd ever heard of it. I don't know that I've ever heard of it since, but it was a California speed stop, and my dad said, you've got to be kidding. Dad didn't quite say those words. Dad had a really colorful vocabulary, especially when he was upset. But we'll just, for the sake of this video, say he said, you've got to be kidding. The police said, the guy said, no, I'm not, and he wrote out the ticket. He gives it to my dad. Well, my dad, you know, is just horrible the rest of the drive. You know, it's like, I'm thinking, I'm in the back seat thinking, how quickly can we get this over with? Just get me home, please. I don't need to hear any more ranting and raving. So, okay, fine, I think it's over, right? And that was on a weekend. So Monday, Dad gets off work early because he's going to pay the ticket. And he gets home about 3 o'clock, and he says, why don't you come with me, Bill? We'll go pay this traffic ticket. And I'm thinking, whatever. Okay, it's a ride with my dad. It'll be kind of cool to see the police station, because you had to go down to the police station to pay the ticket back then. You didn't go to the county city building or any of that. So we go to the police station, and please understand, I'm 10 years old, okay? And I'm a little runt at 10. And my dad's built like a brick outhouse. I mean, he's like all shoulders and chest, and he's just a solid-looking World War II vet. He's gone through 5 campaigns in Italy, and I've never seen the man afraid. And he wasn't afraid that day. He walks into the police station, and I'm traipsing behind him thinking, okay, we'll just pay the ticket and we'll go. Oh no. Dad gets to the counter, and he starts in on this secretary that's working behind the counter. Oh, some woman. I don't know who she is. I have no idea. She's like middle-aged, and she's got the glasses and hair in a bun, and she says, can I help you? And he says, right, you can help me. And he's off and running on her. This stupid ticket, and it's cuss word every other, and he's loud. And now all of a sudden there are a couple police coming from the back of the, because they've heard the shouting. There's a couple police coming up to the counter. Can we help you, sir? God, all right, you can help me. And he goes off on them. And I'm not exaggerating. Within 5 minutes, we must have had 10 policemen at the counter trying to calm my dad down. And the woman says, well, I'll have you know, because Dad's just gone crazy. She says, I'll have you know that my husband was a dedicated police officer for 30 years. And my dad said, well, then why didn't the bastard make a living like the rest of us did? Make a good living like the rest of us did. It's just an example. And this went on for 10 minutes. And finally, he settles down, and he pays the ticket, and he walks out. and I am just slithering out the door. I'm just praying to God that he will not be arrested, because what am I going to do? I'm 10 years old. We get in the car, and Dad acts like nothing's ever happened. It's like it's a beautiful day, sun's out, and he says, what should we do? You want to go home and play some catch? Just like it's never happened. The point is that my dad was beautiful at communication if he was mad. Okay? You could tell immediately what his feelings were if he was mad. But he wasn't real great at communicating anything else that he was feeling. It was like loud, or it was nothing. He was like happy at the top of his lungs, or it was nothing. He was mad at the top of his lungs, or he was nothing. But any emotion in between there, you know, any thought that was going on in his brain, something might have been bothering him, you wouldn't know it, because he didn't express himself until it got pent up inside of him to the point where he had to explode in some fashion. I did that for decades. I basically copied what I had seen growing up. That was how a man shared his feelings. We weren't allowed to cry in the house. And I was a sensitive kid. You know, I'm the first to admit that you know, I'm adopted, and I didn't come from those kind of genes. Something inside of me produced a very sensitive human being. And there were times I'd get my feelings hurt like crazy, but there was no crying in that house. And I grew up with that. You know, where if something hurts your feelings, if something bothers you, you just swallow it. And unfortunately, you swallow it to the point where eventually it has to come out some way. For me, I chose to hide from my feelings with alcohol for a long, long time. Because it seemed like, and then, you know, then I got in a marriage, and I didn't know how to express my feelings. I didn't know how to say, excuse me, that bothered me when you did this. I just shoved it all down. And then to hide that and keep it stuffed down, I would drink. That's not a rationalization for drinking, that's simply a statement of fact. That's how I dealt with my feelings at that time. I've had to learn. I've had to learn. And what I've learned over the years is that if you're in a safe environment, if you're in a safe environment of trust and understanding and love, it's okay to share those feelings. It's okay to say how you feel. You know, my son and I raised my son from the time he was 6. You know, he's 27 now. But we did that. You know, luckily I had learned from the past, and I was able to teach Tyler that we may not always agree. You know, we're going to argue. You know, we're going to have misunderstandings, but we need to talk to each other about it until we can talk our way through those misunderstandings. Because otherwise, it's just not healthy. It's absolutely is not healthy. Yeah, I had a situation today where I had done something and inadvertently hurt my son's feelings. And he called me aside and privately talked to me about it so that I understood. And he was right. He was right. It was, I didn't intentionally mean to be dismissive of his feelings. I simply wasn't aware of it. And until he pointed it out, I had no idea. The relationship I'm in now with Bev, we've been together for the most part for 4 years, is a relationship of safety. We're allowed to approach each other with how we feel. We may not always agree. In fact, we may at times get our feelings hurt when we're being told something. But eventually we go back and we keep talking until it works out. there's no other healthy way to do it. Absolutely none. I don't always want to hear that I've been an ass. I've got a lot of things I'd rather hear than that. Hey Bill, you were an ass today. Oh, thanks. Glad to hear it. But I need to hear it. It's important to hear that. And not only to hear it, I need to listen and internalize and understand that what the other person is telling me is valid. I don't have to agree with it. I have to accept it as a valid feeling. That's crucial, guys. It's absolutely crucial. We let our egos get in the way of conversations. Let our egos get in the way of sharing, so that we immediately put up our defenses. We say, well, he's being mean to me. Well, no, he's not being mean, or she's not being mean. They are simply telling you what they're feeling. Mean doesn't enter into it. Okay, what enters into it is the fact that they are feeling something, it's valid, and you need to listen. Forget about getting defensive. Forget about thinking this is an attack. Okay, it's two people trying to communicate and trying to give each other the respect that they're due. How can you be in a relationship if you don't respect the person enough to listen to them and enough to validate their feeling? I'm not lecturing, I'm telling you what I've learned to be true over 63 years. It does not work if one person's doing all the talking and the other person ain't sharing at all. And it doesn't work if one person's not listening and validating what they're hearing. Both people have to do that. It does not have to be a battle. It does not have to be a war of attrition, you know, where you just wear the person down with your opinion until they finally say, I give up! Okay. I recognize that you're right. Stop. That's not communication. And I did a survey in the writing community hub pages. And I asked people what they thought were the top 5 reasons of divorce. I'll bet oh my God, I didn't turn the phone off. And I'll bet the number 1 reason on 90% of the responses was communication. Almost to a person, they said that was the first reason for divorce was a lack of communication. It doesn't have to be a battle. Doesn't have to be. Get rid of the ego. I'm going to talk about this in a separate video, but there is nothing that ruins relationship faster than an ego. The ego has to be tossed away in place of humility. You have to be humble enough to talk to another person without it being warfare. If you love them, why wouldn't you? Somebody answer me that one. If you love the person, why wouldn't you be willing to listen? But it doesn't have to even be in a relationship. God, shall we talk about country versus country? Is there some reason why countries can't just sit down and talk to each other? Is there some reason why people from different cultures can't just talk and discuss and communicate and hear and listen and internalize, rather than immediately thinking they're trying to get something out of me, or they're trying to hurt me, okay, or they're blaming me? Could we just have communication? What do you think, Beth?
Well done.
Long enough?
Yes, well done.
I'm going to leave you today with a quote about communication. This is from George Bernard Shaw, and I hope I get this right. If I don't, please don't leave a little comment. Say, you missed a word. I don't care. Okay? Try to hear the meaning. George Bernard Shaw said that the greatest problem with communication is the illusion that it has happened. Think about that one for a second. The greatest problem with communication is the illusion that it has happened. Communication can't happen unless listening and internalizing has occurred. Communication is not shouting. Communication is not wearing someone down with your opinion. As I always do, I'm going to show you this. If you haven't seen the videos before, isn't it beautiful? Let me put it up. Let me put it down. Put it over here. And I am basically done. I wish you all a happy weekend. I thank you for listening. And may the street rise up to meet you on your journeys. Live long and prosper.